We all get. So that's really, really important. The other thing that art making, and they've shown this in particular with coloring, is that it actually lowers your corticosteroids, your stress hormones. So that if you sit and color for half an hour, it's going to lower your stress hormones. It also helps with eye-hand coordination. And I'll just say, in the years that I've been doing this, it's been really interesting to watch somebody come in and maybe have some tremor as they're starting, but after a half hour or hour or so of art making, that really kind of goes away. So it can really be beneficial to you. And the museum, the Beach Museum, is so happy to do this. We also have our artful making program. We have our Artful Memories program. Kip Richardson runs both those. And then she also does a fun artist profile once a month, so you can learn a little bit more about artists. That's that art looking part. So during the summer, I'm going to be here Thursday afternoons. There's a couple that Kim is going to sub for, but I'll be here from 12 to 3 on Thursday afternoons. You do not have to stay the whole time. It's drop-in. I will bring all sorts of different art supplies. We will have supplies to color. We will have some supplies to make collages. I'll bring some different sort of fun things. We'll try a little bit of watercolor maybe. I have some interesting stuff that I want to try with melted crayons. So we'll have some different types of things. So we'll feature some of those, but there'll always be kind of some standard art supplies. So to get you started today and to keep you busy, oh, I should also say, they have shown that people concentrate better when they're doodling or coloring. Who knew? I've always been a doodler, so maybe that's so it doesn't break your concentration at all. So you have gel pens, you have colored pencils, and you have markers, and sort of a variety of coloring sheets today. And that way you can kind of help your concentration while Abby's talking.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? So I'm not sure which room. Sometimes they change us up, but it'll be 12 to 3 on Thursdays.
Patriot Room. I'm going to steal it from me, actually. I want to introduce her. So thank you very much, Catherine. Yes, Patriot Room is where we will be, and I have your Parkinson's Post, your PD Post newsletter. So it will have all those dates and times and locations in there as well. So I am excited to introduce to you all. This is Abby Haney, and we are, did I say it wrong?
Nope.
Okay. And we are super excited to have her presenting her final part of her capstone project, in which she worked with us for 3 months, is that right? Doing projects with our people with Parkinson's, working on exercise, helping with boxing, doing lots of different things to learn and understand more about Parkinson's. And so she is now officially occupational therapy doctorate, Abby. So, and keep her all in your thoughts and prayers on June the 12th as she takes her board exam. So send those positive prayers and waves of thoughts and energy to her. So, so without further ado, we will let Abby begin. And let me just, you had your note page right there. Did you want that? Are you good with it?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, I'm just going to mute everybody else that came in here. If you guys have questions during the presentation, Abby, are you okay with the interruptions?
Yes.
Okay,
yep.
perfect. And then let me come back. I'm going to spotlight you, but I can't find us. Where did we go? We're usually like, oh, here we go.
There it is.
There we are. Now we'll spotlight you. And there. Okay. And then I'll let you just start it where you are ready.
All right.
All right. Does anybody need anything before we get going?
Lights on.
Do you want the lights more off? Okay.
Yeah.
We can do that.
All right, let me make sure that I can. No, okay. So just press the. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much, Michelle, for that introduction. And I also want to start out by thanking Michelle and Meadowlark for letting me come here and do basically an internship for school. So I started an occupational therapy program back in 2020 of September and just graduated. So it's about almost a 3-year program. And so for our projects, we have to come up with something where there is a gap in literature or, a topic that we're really passionate about. And just to give you a little background, I don't personally have anyone close to me who has Parkinson's. However, I had a professor in school who wanted to start a research study looking at the effects of yoga, which is a form of exercise, and how that impacts people with Parkinson's. And so if you're not familiar with what occupational therapy is, actually, let's go ahead and do a poll. Raise your hand if you know what occupational therapy is. Okay, so we got some people. It's okay if you don't. It's definitely an area that is people kind of confuse it with physical therapy sometimes, and it is very similar. We kind of go hand in hand. We're in the realm of rehabilitation, but the main difference that I can tell you is that occupational therapy focuses on daily occupations. So your everyday activities that you're doing around the house, laundry, bathing, toileting, washing the dishes, cleaning, taking care of childbearing and taking care of your dogs, going out and grocery shopping. So all those little things are what we call occupations. So if you have an injury, a disorder, anything like that that impacts those tasks, then we use our scope of practice to focus on making you guys more independent, more autonomous in those daily activities. So that just gives you a little bit of background of occupational therapy and how I got to focusing on this topic for my project was, like I mentioned before, I had a professor who wanted to do a research study focusing on Parkinson's, and she asked our class, the students, if we wanted to, get on board with her and do it alongside of her. And so that's kind of how I got to it. I went home and I'd always known about Parkinson's, but not to the extent of how much I know about it now. And I really did research on it, and it was very moving to see just reading people's stories and reading the research behind Parkinson's and also the lack thereof. I mean, there is a lot of research out there, but there is no cure for Parkinson's. And so the more and more that we hone in on this research and figuring out ways to make your life more meaningful and beneficial to you, that's what's important. And that just really moved me and made me even more passionate to focus on this population. And my biggest thing is just really trying to help others. We all deserve to live a happy life. And at the end of the day, that's what my project kind of focuses on. So let's actually start out with, I'm going to have you look at the handout, and on this presentation, I'm going to talk about a little bit of background information on exercise benefits for PD, some examples of exercise and what that may look like, what is adapted yoga, and then yoga benefits for Parkinson's. And then at the end, I will show you my project, which is a website that I created, and we'll get more into that later. Okay. Okay. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about are some exercise benefits for Parkinson's disease. And I know this page right here in the middle is kind of hard to see, but I found it on the Parkinson's Foundation website, and it just talks about the exercise, different types of exercise that you guys can partake in that really, there's research behind the benefits of doing this type of exercise. So Parkinson's is, of course, a progressive disease of the nervous system. And some symptoms, of course, that you guys may experience are tremors, slow movement patterns, things like that, rigidity, and a lot of exercise. A lot of these types of exercises focus on those symptoms. So the aerobic activity, actually, I'm gonna come over.
We printed those, we just forgot to slide them off the printer, so Debbie went to get them for you.
Oh, okay, perfect. I'm gonna come over because I can see it better. So exercise and physical activity can improve many motor and non-motor Parkinson's symptoms. So as you can see here, this is aerobic activity. So walking on a treadmill, maybe running, and the Parkinson's Foundation suggests that 3 days a week for at least 30 minutes per session of continuous or intermittent at moderate to vigorous intensity. So really just any type of walking, running is beneficial here. And then the type is what they call continuous rhythmic activities such as brisk walking, running, cycling, swimming, or even aerobics class. Now over here, you can see that there's also strength training. And I want to preface this by saying that if certain types of activity are too difficult for you, because we all know that Parkinson's has different levels of severity. Some people may have it or worse than others. And so the one thing that I learned in my research was that any type of activity can be beneficial for these people for people with Parkinson's. And so actually, Debbie, do you mind? I'm gonna take 1, 2, 3.
Sorry, they just couldn't hear you online when you scooted over there.
Oh, okay, no problem. All right, so strength training, it suggests that 2 to 3 non-consecutive days per week for at least 30 minutes per session of 10 to 15 reps for major muscle groups. So resistance, speed, or power focus. And the major muscle groups are, your biceps and your arm, looking at your quads and your legs, things like that, your core, your abdomen. So any type of exercise that focuses on, or any type of strength training that focuses on those muscle groups. So major muscle groups of, like I said, upper and lower extremities, and you can use weight machines, resistance bands, light to moderate handheld weights, or even your own body weight. Now, some people may not know that using your own body weight and not using a dumbbell or a resistance band, how beneficial just using your body weight is. I personally was a track athlete in college, and I personally can attest to using your own body weight, and it just, so like a simple squat, if you don't use any weight like that and you're just got your body, that makes a difference as well. And then the next column is balance, agility, and multitasking. And this is kind of the column where yoga can come into play. So they suggest 2 to 3 days a week with daily integration if possible. So this type of exercise is multi-directional stepping. So, taking steps out to the side. If you've been to Jeff's boxing class, you may have remembered that we have done that before, taking just those simple steps or even going forward, things like that. And then, so really focusing on large movements. So that was one thing also that I learned in my research, is that bigger movements are the best for people with Parkinson's. And this is where we really we really stress, because sometimes some people may think they're doing a big movement and they may not be going as big as they feel like possible. So just being aware of that and helping people, get bigger and be the best that they can do. So multitasking such as yoga, Tai Chi, or even dance and boxing. So just some considerations for safety with cognitive and balance problems. And that's something that is really important, that you know your body and you are aware of what you can and cannot do before engaging in this exercise. Because at the end of the day, you want to be safe and you want to do something that's not going to injure you or put you at risk for falling, because we don't want that, right? So if you need to hold on to something stable as needed, so making those modifications or adaptations, that's also beneficial too. And one thing that I took into account when creating my website is addressing those adaptations and modifications, because sometimes people don't know how to do something in a different way. So that's really helpful. And then the last section is stretching. So stretching is actually considered exercise as well. And it suggests that 2 to 3 days a week, with daily being most effective. So this is looking like sustained stretching with deep breathing or dynamic stretching before exercise, which this is also falling under the realm of yoga as well. And then just, considerations again with the adaptations and modifications. And, it mentions osteoporosis and pain. So if you have other comorbidities, taking that into consideration when choosing which exercise regimen works for you. And at the end of the day, also, it's what you are comfortable with. So, don't compare yourself to other people, your friends, or someone else. Do what you feel comfortable with what your body feels comfortable with, and practice that you feel safe and comfortable doing, and one that you enjoy, of course, as well. Yes.
Under the balance, agility, and multitasking. Yeah. There's also I call it meditation. That really,
Yeah.
Heather gets so relaxed. When you finish, you just feel like float now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys heard John, but he was talking about meditation. So that's an aspect of yoga that we practice. And he was mentioning that Heather, our yoga instructor, really does a good job of incorporating that. And I agree. When I first started my internship here at Meadowlark, I started engaging in her classes with her. I felt so relaxed and just my mind was clear. And that's one thing that with yoga, and not just yoga, exercise in general, you hear that phrase, exercise builds endorphins, endorphins make you happy, right? And so that is a huge aspect in those endorphins. And then I can't remember her name, who was the one that just spoke? I'm sorry. Catherine, when she mentioned your cortisol levels, that's also something that rolls over into exercise and yoga as well. So that's how the mental aspect kind of plays into, exercise and yoga. And of course, we all mentally having this neurodegenerative disorder can be taxing on the mind. So taking that time to allow yourself to really just clear your head and cope with a new diagnosis or a diagnosis that you've known you've had for a little while. That's one thing that yoga, I believe, and what research shows really has an impact on that mental capacity. So I'm gonna kind of go up on here on the slide and kind of talk about what the Parkinson's Foundation and what I also read from other articles in my research. So there are reported benefits of exercise that include improvements in the following areas, and that's gait and balance, flexibility and posture, motor coordination, endurance, working memory and decision-making, attention and concentration, and then quality of sleep. So all of those aspects are really where people saw improvements from exercise. And then there's also been research that shows reductions in the following concerns of falls, freezing of gait, and depression and anxiety. And I read a lot of articles in my research during my literature review that talked a lot about balance and how engaging in exercise like yoga or just exercise in general, how that affects your falls and fall prevention, fear of falling. Even there were some people that were participants in a study that stated, I no longer have a fear of falling. So those are areas that they felt like, were reduced.
Abby,
Yes.
I'm going to a young lady named Karen Douglas. She told me that my lower back pain, I don't know if anybody has lower back pain in this room, but she helped me with posture. Posture is so important. I walk kind of forward, whether it's on that, bend over. If you want me to use these and exercise. So you keep my cool.
Yeah, and I actually got the privilege to observe in some of your sessions with Aaron. So what he was saying was an occupational therapist has been telling him that, or has been working with him on fixing his posture when he's walking and even sitting as well. And how that's correlating to his lower back pain. So if you are someone who is experiencing that, of course, talk to your doctor about it. But I will say that John here has experienced, and I've witnessed how much just really working on your core and your abdomen muscles can impact your posture, which impacts the lower back. So it's a nice little chain of reaction, and how they correlate. And it's really interesting to see the effects of just moving from, being in a forward position like this when you're walking, to just bringing that chest up a little bit, and that making a world of a difference.
Parkinson's have a way of making you small,
Yes.
which when you feel small, when you have it.
Yep, you kind of curl up into, it's kind of like a fetal position. It's a kind of a coping mechanism. It can be a safety position for people, and it's what's comfortable. So that's one thing that throughout my time here at Meadowlark and helping out in the boxing classes, the yoga classes, the exercise classes, just really encouraging people to just, be open to not necessarily corrections, but just really being able to see like what I see when I look at you doing something, and assisting you with trying to make those adjustments or modifications to kind of help with whatever issues you're having. So
In this class, she talks about being big.
Yep, big movements.
Front door, when I leave my apartment, there's a big sign that says big,
Yep,
and that's important.
it is. All right, so now these are just some examples of exercise that that the Parkinson's Foundation talks about, that a lot of research shows. So running or walking, Tai Chi, yoga or adapted yoga, and Pilates, biking, and that can be on a regular bicycle or it can be on a stationary bike, like the ones we have here at Meadowlark in the gym, dance, any form of dance. And I feel like for a lot of people that could also be not only helping them physically, but helping them mentally. Because I had a client once during school when I had my clinical rotations, who she had Parkinson's and she really wanted to get back to dancing. And she felt like she couldn't do it because she had tremors, and she had muscle weakness in her legs. And I told her, I was like, you can dance in your chair. It's still dancing. It may not feel like it is, but just kind of opening her mind to those modifications and adaptations to a certain type of exercise, and to know that that's okay, and that you can still see, there's still a possibility of seeing benefits from engaging in that exercise. And then you see here weight training, which you kind of see on the Parkinson's exercise recommendations handout, and then non-contact boxing. So, we have Michelle and Jeff kind of help lead the boxing classes here, and they are amazing. I've actually talked to some people outside of Kansas who have said that they would love to be a part of a non-contact boxing class like we have here. And just really the benefits of, you can punch the air and not have to punch a bag, and that works your arm muscles, your shoulders. If you're standing up while you're doing it, you're working on that balance and agility. And these are all areas that people with Parkinson's struggle with. So boxing is really a good form of exercise, and that's another one that you could also do in a chair as well if standing up is too cumbersome. And the one thing that I remember reading in my articles was that people started out from having so many symptoms, and then after engaging in a certain type of exercise, seeing those improvements, and how much that encouraged them to keep on continuing in their exercise and incorporating it into their daily practice and their daily routine. So, in the beginning, it may be hard to just take that step and say, I'm going to do this. But, holding on to the fact that you could see some improvements, but also knowing that if you don't see improvements, to not get discouraged as well. At the end of the day, if you, well, we don't have a cure for Parkinson's, but I think there is enough research to back up the importance of exercise. And there's lots of resources out there on the Parkinson's Foundation website. There's the Michael J. Fox Foundation that has done studies as well. So there's a lot out there to show proof. And I actually, when I talk about my website, I have articles that I use during my research that you guys can read yourself, that talk about the benefits of yoga specifically. Some of them are about exercise as well, and how that affects people with Parkinson's and other neuromuscular disorders. So, anyone have any questions right now? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move into one, since my focus for my project was adapted yoga. I'm going to talk about how that, it is a form of exercise. And what is yoga? It's an art and science that connects the mind, body, and spirit through physical postures combined with the breath and meditation practices. So if you see here in the picture on the right, you have some participants sitting in a chair with kind of these blocks underneath their feet, and they're called yoga blocks. And so yoga that has, or adapted yoga is yoga that has modifications and adaptations for individuals with neuromuscular impairments like Parkinson's disease. So these yoga blocks and using the chair, that right there is an adaptation or modification to yoga. And that's what makes it adapted. There's other props that people sometimes incorporate, but mainly it's the chair and the blocks that really kind of help people with Parkinson's to engage in yoga, and feeling like they can participate, and it's inclusive, and it's modified and adapted, tailored to your needs, really, which makes it more accessible and more efficient for these individuals, for you guys to participate. And then just some yoga benefits for Parkinson's. So yoga practice is shown to improve muscle strength and endurance, muscle power, flexibility, balance and coordination, and health-related functions. And so the flexibility and muscle strength and endurance aspect is really cool here, because I think some people don't think about yoga and improving their muscle strength or endurance and their flexibility, yes, but muscle power and balance. And there's a lot of articles and research behind practicing yoga and how that impacts your balance. And so when you're engaging in those movement patterns in yoga, you're using your muscles, you're engaging your core. If you lift up your arms like this in kind of like a goalpost position, sorry, I'm getting the camera for you guys. Or we call them cactus arms. So holding your arm up like that is using your muscles in your shoulder and your biceps, your triceps. So that's really kind of how the muscle aspect comes into play with yoga. And then there are ways to isolate certain muscle groups while you're practicing. And so the one thing that Heather, our yoga instructor here, does a good job of, she really mentions, pressing your feet into the ground and activating those muscles. So that right there is a form of exercise, and you may see the benefits of using those activating those muscles in your lower extremities, which is how the balance and coordination part come into play for the improvements there. And then there's also the positive psychosocial effects, such as improved quality of life. And one thing about yoga is it's a holistic practice. So it's incorporating the mind, body, spirit, and mentally, like John was saying earlier, he really enjoys the meditation part. So it's time where you can close your eyes, you sit in a chair, you just really meditate, and there might be music in the background to kind of calm the mood. And I feel like when you just have that moment to hear the music in the background and to just shut everything off in your mind, there's a lot of people find that beneficial to just how that affects them psychosocially and mentally. So there's also that kind of plays into how it improves your overall well-being, because if you're not stressed, if your cortisol levels are down, and you're just happy, that goes, it plays into how you interact with certain people, your family, your friends. It may improve your mood to get up and go do something around the house, or even go get out of the house. So that's kind of where the overall well-being comes into play. And then I had to throw in the influencing engagement in daily tasks and activities, because of course I'm an occupational, or almost an occupational therapist. And so that's really important for us too. So I actually focused a lot of my research on how yoga can be incorporated into occupational therapy practice, and how that impacts people's engagement in daily activities and daily tasks, and connecting the mental aspect of it and the physical aspect of it. So this is what my website is called. It is called Functional in Motion. And I am going to show you, so this is just a screenshot real quick of the homepage, which I'll go directly to the website, but I'm going to show you something first real quick. So you can see here on the homepage, you have a tab that goes to yoga videos. And then you have a tab that goes to the articles. And then you have a tab that goes to what I call the definition of terms. So I added just some common terms and phrases that are used in yoga practice, and just to kind of help people be more knowledgeable and understand how that plays into yoga. And then for my yoga videos, I recorded, there's a total of 9 videos on my website. However, it's 3 videos that are broken up into 3 different increments. And I did that because sometimes people, if they, log on to a yoga video online from their home, can see that the video is an hour plus long. That may discourage some people. And also some people may not have time to, sit there for an hour, although it could be beneficial, or someone may want to. I felt that it would be more beneficial to kind of break it up. So when I go to my website, you'll see more than just 3 videos, but the overarching theme with the 3 are that my first video are tailored to, it's going to be, or people who are wanting to sit in a chair for the entire time. So this video is tailored for participants who have restrictions with balance and mobility, and they will be seated throughout the entirety of the session. So you don't have to stand up. There's use of props, but I also show modifications to using those props if you don't have them at home. And this was something huge that I saw, and there was a gap in literature that there weren't a lot of online resources for yoga practice, because if you go to a yoga studio, out here in Manhattan or something, or in another city or another state, it's hard to find someone who is able to, have someone come in who has a neuromuscular impairment like Parkinson's disease and be able to still do that yoga class, but adapt and modify those poses and movement patterns for that person. So by creating this website, I really wanted to promote inclusivity and accessibility. And of course, like I said, you can do it in the comfort of your own home. So if getting out of the house is a struggle, then this kind of really, hones in on you not having to worry about, well, how am I going to get out of the house to do yoga? So the next video is tailored for people who are able to sit in the chair, and then if they want to be able to stand up. So participants who can intermittently stand with the use of chair and props for support to challenge balance, with adaptations to address balance restrictions, muscle tightness, and weakness. So, like using props again in that video, and I show, again, modifications and adaptations. And then my last video, I have transitioning down to the floor from the chair. So this one is for participants who are able to transition to the floor from standing with the use of props as needed, and adaptations to address muscle tightness, weakness, and core stability. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this to come up.
How do you identify the web? And
I didn't push, if you need sound on it, I didn't push their sound.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm just, okay, yeah. Say that again.
how do you identify? If I was to be at home and pull out my.
So on this handout, I have at the bottom, the one that I gave you, the one that's not from the Parkinson's Foundation, the one that has like the border and the circles on it. At the bottom, there's a link that you can copy that link into your computer from Google, or from your search bar, and it will come up with
I found it.
yep, www.functionalinmotion.com. So I tried to make it simple with the name and not too long. And I will say that I had help from a web designer with this process, because creating a website and all the coding was kind of way over my head. So he assists me in all of this. So I want to make sure I give credit to him for helping me with this. So this is my homepage. So you can see here, I've got my logo on the top. And then at the top, oh, you can't see it on the screen though. Let's try. There we go. I'm not sure how to get it onto the screen up there.
Are you guys getting cold? No. Okay. So which one do you know, where you want it, right there?
Yeah.
Oh, right there?
Yes.
It's always tricky. Oh, let's see, what was that too? Well, hopefully that fixed for Carol there. Let's do a stop share. And then try it that way.
People online, if you want to put in the comment box that you were able to see the slides.
Were the slides advancing later? Yeah, okay, good deal. So let's see, let's try to go back to a share.
It would be this one.
It always does this. I struggle with this part all the time.
Okay. You want me to just talk about it? I can.
At home, could you see the web page? Sorry, Carol. Yeah, you could see that web page. Oh, we got a couple of them. Oh, yep, you could. Okay, well, we'll do it that way for them for online, and then we can show these guys afterwards.
Okay.
How about that?
Yep.
Okay, that you can show your crew online. At least.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Thank you. All right. So if you guys didn't hear that, the people online can see the website on their screen, so we cannot see it up here, but I will show you guys after I just kind of go through it. But basically I have these tabs at the top and I have yoga videos, so that'll take you directly to those videos. I have articles, testimonials, which is a page for people to comment on my videos and give me feedback, because at the end of the day, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear if you guys like it, what's working, what's not working, what's missing. And so this is something that I plan on keeping alive for as long as I can. And you know, it's a website that I plan to continue working on and gaining feedback over the course of more people engaging in it and practicing yoga. And then I have a tab for definition of terms. So like I mentioned earlier, talking about different phrases or words and just to kind of give you background information. And then the very last tab is to contact us, meaning me and my team to, you know, like I said, share thoughts. Or if you have any questions, feel free to use that contact us page. It gives you a, in fact, let's start out. So you can see here, you can type in your name, your email address, and then your message, and then it'll send it directly to me. I'm going to go to the articles first. And so I have some different articles that I wanted to target, articles that don't just talk about Parkinson's, even though my project focus was on Parkinson's. I wanted the website to be generalized to neuromuscular impairments or disorders in general, because in my research, I found a lot of articles that talked about the benefits of yoga, not just for Parkinson's, but for people with multiple sclerosis, so MS, ALS, people who suffer from traumatic brain injuries, things like that. So those articles are there that you can click on and they will take you directly to a PDF. So you don't have to worry about, you know, having access to a certain website or something to read the article, you can read it right there on your computer. And that I just put that on there to kind of help people if they want to, educate themselves more about either their disorder or just more background information on the benefits of yoga, and how it impacts your daily activities. And then, so the testimonials, of course, doesn't have any yet. I haven't had any comments, but that's okay. I just launched it like maybe a month ago, so it'll take some time. But eventually, when I see that people are commenting on the videos, I will transfer them over onto the website so other people can see it and read it, because, my thought process with it was, if someone who's coming onto my website for the first time, they've never done yoga before or adapted yoga, and they just want to hear from other people and see what they're saying, that could maybe influence them, or it may be, helpful for them to read other people's comments. And then the definition of terms, sorry. So I have just some terms. I have, talking about neuromuscular impairments and what that is, because some people may not know, or if they're, first time diagnosis, just giving more background. I talked about I have a definition for adapted yoga program, which is kind of what my website is. And then I have a definition for meditation. So what we were talking about early, just taking that time to breathe and, connect your mind and your body. And then I have a definition for asanas, which are the seated physical positions, or, a yoga pose that you assume during yoga practice. And it's typically used for meditation. So you might be familiar with that. People crossing their legs and they're sitting down, and then they, place their hands on the top of their legs in that cross-legged position. So that's a common one that people find to be, helpful and calming, and they're able to really meditate in that position. But really, any position, it can be considered an asana, because if it's whatever is comfortable for you, that's okay. And then pranayama is the practice of breath regulation or control, with prana meaning energy source and yama meaning control. So that's where that comes from. And then shavasana is a resting and restorative pose or yoga pose, and it's commonly used at the end of a yoga session. So Heather does a good job of incorporating that at the end of her yoga sessions here at Meadowlark. And that's kind of another area where I think John and maybe some other people really feel like it's that last couple of minutes of the session or of class where you just let go and let loose and really just release the tension from your body. So that a lot of people find that helpful. And then the last thing I will show is my yoga videos. So for the people online, you'll see here. So I titled them so it would be easy to follow where they're broken up into 3. So if you see here on the top left corner, chair yoga session, intro to theme. So I made themes for each of the 3 yoga videos. And I talk about a quote that I, encourage people to think about, and I recite the quote in the video, and, just thinking about how that quote relates to you, and to really kind of mentally prepare yourself for the yoga practice. And then the chair yoga session, the pranayama and the warm-up. So that's the second increment of the first video. And then the third increment is the actual asanas. So those poses, those body movements. So the nice part about this is they're kind of shorter videos. None of them are an hour long. So if you only want to do something for 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes, you can jump on here and engage in this practice. And the one thing that I will say, the Parkinson's Foundation recommends certain times for exercise, but sometimes that can be overwhelming for people thinking about well, I have to work out for an hour or 30 minutes or whatever. And, I encourage you to start out with, a small increment of time and work your way up if that's what, you feel is comfortable for you, and knowing that that's okay. So those are the videos online, and they take you, they're on YouTube. So when you click on them, they'll take you directly to YouTube. But you'll see them, they're sectioned out on YouTube as well in order. So it's meant to be a progression from starting out kind of with something more simple, not even simple, just, if you want to start out from doing something to make sure that you're able to do it. That's where I started out with the chair, and then progressing into intermittently standing up from the chair and then getting down to the floor. So the idea with that is for people to kind of focus on that progression and seeing the improvements that could possibly come from, hey, I started out with the chair, sitting in the chair the whole time, and now I can get down on the floor. And so that can really, I think, encourage people as well to see themselves, the effects of engaging in this practice. So I want to encourage you guys to keep an open mind. I know sometimes yoga can be, it may not be for everybody, but to know that it is a form of exercise may help redirect your thinking, your mindset about it. And then, but also knowing that other forms of exercise are just beneficial in general: boxing, the biking, the walking, dancing, and all that stuff. So even though this website right now is focusing on yoga, I have thought about next steps and incorporating other forms of exercise on the website as well. So that's kind of my plan, my future plan with it. So hopefully one day I'll get to do that, and have the more not credibility, but take some courses and trainings on like how Jeff and Michelle have taken courses specifically for boxing, and just bettering my knowledge around that area is really going to be helpful for that. So do you guys have any questions?
Abby, there was a heard that there was a magazine called Manhattan. Manhattan Magazine. Is there an article about Heather and her yoga class? Has anybody seen it?
But I think we should check into it.
Well, I just wanted to, she was pretty excited about
I'll have to check it out. Was that recently?
it. 6 weeks ago.
Oh.
Anyone online? All right. Well, I would love to kind of, if you guys are open to it, I would love to kind of take you guys through a sample, not yoga session, but kind of show you what adaptive yoga looks like. So I think,
Yeah, if you guys just want to kind of spread out just a little bit, give yourselves a little bit of room, and I'll fix the camera here so that everyone at home can see you. Does anyone have any questions before she does this?
Well, I thought her presentation was great.
Yes, I agree.
thank you.
I have something to say too.
Oh, sorry, Carol, go ahead. Let me turn
Yes.
you up just a little bit. Hold on. Okay, go ahead, Carol.
I just wanted to say thank you. It was very interesting. Do you know of anybody that does any Tai Chi?
I personally do not.
Is that something that you've considered as a next step, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. My fiance has mentioned to me that he's always wanted to do Tai Chi classes.
I've been told several times that it's really helpful for balance, which is something that I've started having a lot of trouble with.
Yeah,
And it's really hard to find anybody that teaches it. Or
really.
leads it.
I think I will say it's, like finding a studio that teaches Tai Chi, they're kind of far in between.
Yeah.
But I think the best bet is to just, keep doing your Google search, or even Google search online.
Right.
Maybe finding some videos, there may be something on YouTube. And the one thing that I do want to address with, engaging in this practice at home on your own, and I address this in all my videos, because since I can't physically be there with you guys or someone, I encourage people to have someone in the room with them close by if they are nervous or uncomfortable about certain movements, because safety is really huge when engaging in this practice at your home. It's always nice that you have this ability to, go online and do it on your own, but the caveat to that is making sure that you are practicing safe habits and taking those precautions to make sure that you don't injure yourself. And I will say my videos, I kept it, I focused on safety, and I didn't want to engage in anything that could put people at risk of being injured or falling or anything like that. But like I said, you guys know your body more than I do. So, since I'm not at your house with you going through these videos, I encourage you guys to just think about that and take that into consideration. So, but with the Tai Chi, yes, I think the balance aspect is really probably important, because Tai Chi, you're shifting your weight, and you're going through different movement patterns that really focus on those muscle groups. So I, encourage you to keep searching, and to don't give up on it.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right. You're in a chair and I can move the camera for you. All right, so you guys got some room? Woo, I didn't hear anybody. Do you guys have some room? All right, there we go.
All right. So let's just start out with.
You can probably just use your voice. Or leave your big voice on it.
So let's start out with just kind of getting that posture up nice and tall. And then we're going to raise our arms up as we inhale. And then exhale as you bring your arms down. Inhale as your arms come up. Exhale as your arms come down. Good. Let's start out with placing our hands on the top of our legs. And we're going to lean forward just a little bit, as much as we can. Really trying to think about those muscles in our abdomen, engaging them, squeezing them. And then I want you to press your palms into your legs, and then press or bring your chest up into a tall posture. And then we're going to do that again. Lean forward a little bit. Press into your knees and lift up. Now you might feel when you press into your knees that activates those muscles in your arms. We'll do that one more time. Lean forward and bring that chest up. Good. All right, let's go ahead and inhale as your arms come up. And then exhale, and I want you to bring your arms down into, if you're a football fan, this may look like a goalpost. If you're an Arizona person, it may look like a cactus. All right, and then we're just gonna do a slight twist to one side. It doesn't matter which. Keeping those hands out nice and big and wide. And then we're gonna unwind and come back to the center. And then twisting over to the other side. Good, and we'll come back to center. Go ahead and bring your palms, your two palms together and your thumb kind of at your heart. And then we're going to lean forward here again. And then we're going to twist over to the right as you keep your core engaged. Good. So these are all what we call asanas. So the postures, the yoga postures. We'll come back to center. And then we'll twist over to the other side, remembering to engage that core. And come back to center and then lift up that chest. And then you can release your hands. And then I want you to, if you're able to, lift up one of your legs. So kind of thinking about bringing that knee up to your chest. And then if you're able to, try to extend that leg out in front of you. I know some of you may have a table in front, but that's okay. And then bring that leg back to a bent position and drop it down. And then lift up the other leg. We'll do the same thing. And then extend that leg out as much as you can. And you'll feel your muscles in your quad activating here to hold up that leg. And then bend and, excuse me, lower. Good job. Let's move into, let's go ahead and inhale again as your arms come up. Exhale as your arms come down. One more time, inhale, bring your arms up. And then I want you to kind of forward fold, kind of halfway. If you're able to, go down to the ground. If you're not, just coming down to maybe your legs, whatever's comfortable for you. And then I want you to come halfway up, keeping your back flat as much as you can. And then come back down to the ground. And I want you to inhale and sweep your arms all the way up. And then exhale, bringing your thumbs to heart. All right. Good job, everybody. I actually want to show you real quick. I'm going to grab the props that I used in my video. So these nifty things are called yoga blocks. You can get them on Amazon. They're kind of like a foamy feel. We have them here for the yoga class that Heather leads. And an alternative to these could actually be books, like your textbook, or even a pillow, something that you could place your feet under, or some people use these blocks. If when we kind of went forward down to the ground, some people may not be able to reach their hands all the way down to the ground. So these blocks, when you place them on the ground, so I'll do it on the table so you can see. The blocks are on, this is the floor. So this kind of raises the, your ability to lean forward. So you're not trying to get all the way down to the ground. So that really helps there. Some people find them helpful to go underneath their feet when they're sitting in the chair. And then when you press into the ground, that kind of helps people to be able to really, get that activation in pressing into the yoga blocks. So these are really cool tools to help modify and adapt the yoga. And like I said, I use them in my videos. Heather uses them in class. And, some people don't like to use them, but I think they're great. And I've used them before in my yoga practice that I do as well. So that is it. I want to thank you guys for coming and for listening. Like I said, I encourage you to keep an open mind to exercise, yoga, and know that there's research behind exercise and Parkinson's, and know that you have a nice support team here to encourage you into getting into exercise if you're not already. Yeah, any last minute questions? No? All right. Thank you guys online.
Okay, great job, Abby. Abby, can I steal your microphone for a moment? Okay. Wonderful job. Let's see. So Eugene says, Abby, tremendous project and presentation. This piques my curiosity of beginning yoga that till now was not something I thought I would ever engage in. So, woo woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, I'll repeat that. Yeah, so Eugene is watching from at home and he said, tremendous presentation and project. And he says, now after watching and listening to Abby, he's got an interest in checking out yoga, which he never thought he would before. So woo woo.
Thank you, Eugene.
Well done. So I want to take just one more big round of applause for Abby. Also, the Hayes group said, thank you so much. Excellent website. And Glenda says, good job, Abby. Very informative. It makes me also want to try yoga. So woo, nice. So I want to take just a couple minutes here to share with you some things coming up. So I know that most of you are familiar that our program is called Meadowlark Special Programs. And within that, we have the Parkinson's program and the memory program. And we have an event, it's an awareness event for the memory program next Friday, June the 9th. And it is called Fiesta to Remember. It is at Rockin' K's. It's a lot like the Pig Out for Parkinson's. So you just come to Rockin' K's anytime between 11 in the morning and 10 o'clock at night. And we have a special lunch buffet. We have a special evening buffet, but then you can also just order off of the menu. We also have a really fun band called Petty Cash that will be performing, and we've had them before for Pig Out several years ago, and they were amazing. So it's a lot of fun. So join us there, June 9th. Come check it out. Come visit us. And then Rockin' K's donates 10% of their sales from the day back to our memory program. So, and then Debbie and Abby, we're going to put Abby to work now. Debbie's been over there working the whole time, but they're going to be passing out flyers so that you can take those home. Additionally, it is time to think about the Speedy PD Race for Parkinson's. This is our 15th year. So we are super excited. It is going to be Saturday, August the 26th at Tuttle Creek State Park. And so we have continue as through every year, we have a very wonderful donor who pays for all of our VIPDs, our very important people with Parkinson's disease. So your registration, if you have Parkinson's, is completely free. You can do the half-mile memorial walk or the 5K or the 10K if you can find someone to push you really, really fast in that one. We'll let you do that one too. So I have registration forms for you. So again, Debbie and Abby will be passing those out. You get a free t-shirt, you get free entry in the race. There's food, beer, soda, chocolate milk, whatever you want. After the race, we'll take care of you. We'll feed you well. Smoothie King will be there, we're hoping again. So go ahead and fill those out today if you have a chance, or take it home and bring it back to us next week. Or as soon as you can. I mean, obviously it's not till August, but it's always fun to get more entries in earlier than later. And then for those of you who don't have Parkinson's, we're gonna ask you to fill out this green form, okay? So you fill those out. We've got those coming around, and we'll have more of those for you at the front desk as well, if you need more than what we have available today. So you can fill those out, and there also is a box at the front desk to turn in your registrations and your money for that.
Does one registration account for one person?
Yes,
So, okay.
yes, excellent question. So one person, one registration form. So that is because we need your signature, so that if something does happen, if you get sick at the race or you fall down, you don't come back and sue us. So we have to have a signature that says that you're okay, you accept a responsibility for anything that might happen. And we also really encourage you and your family and friends to put together a team. So we do have a Meadowlark team, we have a VIPD team. So we've had people, like for example, my dad had a team last year. They were called the Straub Squad. We've got Virginia, she always has a team. Hers is Grannies, Team Grannies, is that right? Team Grannies is Virginia's team. I think St. Mary's group should have a team this year, and we've got the Hayes folks. So we do have team competitions, so it's just a lot of fun. So we really look forward to having you all there. So then the last thing we have is your Parkinson's newsletter for this month. I did go through and highlight because I didn't make it quite bold enough, but we will start having voice classes again in June. So I know at the end, oh, thanks, Virginia, I love that expression. So I know at the end of May, we talked about, or the beginning of May, that we wouldn't be able to have voice class until August or September. But Emma, who was our student last spring, gets to come back. So I'm super excited to have a summer class with Emma. So we will start on June 12th. The other thing, I heard some of you online, and then also just to make sure everyone knows, the yoga classes that we have every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 o'clock are online. So you can join us online. You don't have to keep your camera on if you don't want to, but you can do it here in person with Heather, or you can do it virtually online. So, those of you that are saying, hey, I want to check it out, there's a great opportunity. You can check it out that way. That's the seated chair exercise. And then Heather also does a mat exercise or yoga exercise class at 12:05 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you're welcome to join either or both or whatever else we might have. So, okay. And Katie, our new person, our new special programs coordinator, she wasn't able to be here today. She had already had a trip planned for months before she took this job. So she's actually on a wonderful vacation right now, but she started, this was her second week with us, and it's super wonderful to have more support. In addition to being able to have Debbie continue with us for a month and a half. So I'm trying not to let that sink in yet. So I'm just enjoying having three of us right now. So, okay, any questions?
I think I saw in a bulletin that you have a birthday this next week, so I think we ought to say.
Thank you, Carolyn. And actually, Larry has a birthday too, right? Yeah. Larry's is on the 3rd, mine is on the 5th.
Harry has a birthday.
Harry's birthday, when's yours?
18.
The 18th, you're gonna be 18? A golden birthday, Harry. I said it'll be your golden birthday. You turn 18 on the 18th. All right, so we got the 3rd, the 5th, the 18th.
29.
The 29th is John Henderson's. Katie, our new helper, is the 23rd. Do we have any birthdays at home? June is a busy month. And then we also have an anniversary, John and Patsy's anniversary is on the 5th. Vic and Patty's anniversary is on the 24th.
The 12th.
Virginia and Andy's is on the 12th. What an awesome month.
She's got a big old party.
Dawn and Mary's is on the 17th. Nice, very nice. Okay, so yeah, let's sing happy birthday to all of those birthdays in June using our really nice loud voices.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Parkinson. Happy birthday to you.
Very, very nice. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
All right. Any other announcements? You good?
Special prayers. Mark's trip to Mayo.
Oh, yep. So Mark, my husband, and I will be gone next Tuesday and Wednesday, the 6th and 7th. So we're going back to Mayo. Well, my husband will have all of the scans and all the good stuff, and then we'll see his neuro-oncologist on the 7th. So yeah, so at least we don't have to worry about snow, right? I mean, after his brain surgery, we had big snow up there and had to worry about that coming home. So I don't think we have to worry about that this trip. So, all right. Well, thank you all for joining.
Oh, fun.
All right, good. Thanks, Irvin. Bye, guys.
Bye.